Hello. There's a man called Phillip Schofield who used to be a presenter on a television morning show. Some of you in America will not have heard of him. Everybody in Britain has. I never watched the show, so I can't tell you exactly what he was like. Apart from the odd clips, I never saw him. But what happened was that a few months ago, it wasn't that long ago, Schofield, despite being a man who's been married for years and has a family, said actually he was gay, and that caused a bit of a stir. Okay, now it turns out he had an affair with a younger colleague who was working on the show. What I'm going to be talking about is the way the news has approached this affair. The man was much younger than him, but not a child. And yet there are people who are tweeting out that Schofield is a podiatrist. Now, you might say that this is karma on Schofield. I shall explain that later. But what is being said about the man is truly dreadful. And it should show to anyone in the media who leads the pack. The pack can turn very quickly on them. And I want to show you how that happened to Phillip Schofield. So first, let's look at it. Oh, before I do that, I'll tell you I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds, also Twitter and Gab, and all the links to those different platforms are in the description. Also, there are links to donation sites if you want to donate to my channel. But one of the best ways you can help my channel is by clicking the like button, by sharing videos, and by subscribing. And if you're on YouTube, checking that your subscription is still there. All right, let's just talk about this. This is the Evening Standard. A young male colleague who had an affair with Phillip Schofield was only 15 years old when they first met. It has emerged. And that's a terribly, awfully misleading headline or start. He may well have been 15, but when the affair started, and it wasn't a passionate affair either, it was apparently a few isolated meetings over a long period of time. He was 20 when this started. That's not the same thing, is it? But they bring this up, and then Schofield becomes a figure of hate. And he said, now he's feeling very sorry for himself, and he shouldn't be, because, well, I'll tell you why. There was an incident on one of his morning shows. I'll get to that in a little while. But he's feeling very sorry for himself. He said, I felt like I was, going to commit suicide and everything, because he had been accused of having an affair with a younger man, which may not be the best choice, but it's certainly not a sin. And I'm interrupting myself because I realised I'd used the wrong word. Many people would regard it as a sin. What I should have said, though, was that it wasn't a crime. And sin was certainly not what was uppermost in the minds of the people who are having a go at him right now, is it? All right, back to the show. And then this came out, and they made it seem like that's what he was doing with a 15-year-old. Reports surfaced on Sunday claiming that the veteran TV presenter met the boy while giving a talk at a theatre school. The schoolboy asked him for a job, and Schofield reportedly arranged an interview for him. He later, the young man, took on a role as an ITV production assistant when he turned 18. Here's the son. And There's all of this, Phillip Schofield confirms age he first met young lover and where it happened. This is neither here nor there. They've got this story out of him, and there he is looking suitably contrite. Well, you want to talk about karma. I'm not suggesting that this is deserved. I'm just showing you what happens when the media just goes, like a feeding frenzy. Phillip Schofield was interviewing David Cameron, and there was a podiatrist thing going on in the news, a sort of ferment going on at the time. And Phillip Schofield said, I've just spent 10 minutes on the internet and I found internet gossip about all of these Tory MPs. What are you going to do about it? And I think he thought he was being hard-hitting and tough, and he was going to lead the charge. And then he did this. He handed the papers. Here we are. So he said, here, I've got all of this. Now, there he is looking, as you can see, suitably strict. And then what he did, does it show it here? Yeah, right, they've blurred it out. He picks up some papers from the desk and hands them to David Cameron. Here's a list of podiatrist Tory MPs. What are you going to do about this? Just look at his body language there. Just look, gotcha. Cameron said he wasn't going to read them. Read the list, he said, because these are accusations without any basis, and indeed, as it turned out, it was just internet gossip. But the worst of it was that some of the names could be seen by the camera, because he handed the papers in such a way. Now, he said later on, I'm sorry, that was a mistake. I didn't intend for the names to be shown. He'd been working on This Morning, or whatever it was called. He'd been working on that show for 10 years when this happened. Of course, he knew the names would show up. That was a very vicious, well, basically an anti-Tory stab he was doing. And he was trying to throw dirt at the entire Conservative Party. Well, now he's found out what it feels like. The people on, I think everybody on that list turned out not to have anything wrong with them. There's just a lot of Twitter gossip going on. And somebody talked about trial by Twitter. So, at the time. So, yeah, I'm not rejoicing in what's happened to him now. He doesn't look so aggressive here, does he? Let's see if I can turn the sound down on this. Here we are. Doesn't look so aggressive now, does he? Oh, stop it. Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah. Well, nobody deserves to be hounded into feelings of suicidal feelings. Nobody deserves that. Even the guilty. And I don't think he was guilty of anything very much except taking up with a much younger partner. People do that all the time. But it does show how nobody is immune. Even the most self-righteous. Somebody under one of my videos said, when I was talking about the government talking about disinformation, and she said, well, he, I don't remember who it was now, said, isn't it amazing how the people who accuse others of disinformation are do the most disinformation themselves? Yeah, and the people who are accusing others of podiatry are now themselves being accused of the same thing. It always comes back to bite you. That's what the word karma means. All right, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.